We do that. That way we make sure we get done because we have the Montgomery County meeting afterwards.
Okay.
All right, so we get started with the Hatfield Borough Planning Commission for August 17th. The roll call. Yes. Here.
Larry Burns,
Here.
John Kretzer, Michelle Weiss, Amy Snyder, Borough Manager. Here.
All right, we have a minute or no motion to approve the agenda for August 17th. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Oh, second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion to approve the minutes from April 27th.
Motion.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah.
First and second.
Larry and Larry. Larry and Larry. Ayes have it. We'll skip over the land development. We'll wait for them to come. We can go over old business.
Sure, just wanted to highlight, just a status update on the land development that we have going on in the borough. Bennett's Court is, fully occupied, functioning. They're just cleaning up some stormwater work and some paving work. I think that's a little bit of ADA stuff before they will come back for their escrow release. It's been quite a while, but they haven't come back to us for it. So that seems to be going well. 43 Roosevelt will have their final escrow release on Borough Council. Meeting on Wednesday, so both of those twin units are occupied, both 1 and 3 North Gerard are occupied. So their final release will be on for consideration on Wednesday, and then they'll have an 18-month maintenance bond that they did post at the borough today. For Hatfield Walk, 23 North Main Street, their first escrow release is on for consideration on Wednesday. Most of it is still unoccupied. They are going through the process of renting them out. Everything seems to be moving forward, and they are looking to have their final paving done sometime this week. It was going to be scheduled, so they're looking for a majority of their escrow to be released for the project on Wednesday at the council meeting. And then I did not put it in the packets. I forgot afterwards. I just wanted to let planning commission know if they didn't. Oh, question about 23.
Yeah, just one question.
Yeah.
Have we issued the UNOs for all of the
Yes,
units?
yeah.
Okay.
I believe still only 1 is occupied.
The end one on. the
Yeah,
back,
and one in the back. I do know some more have been rented. Some of them aren't moving into October. I knew one person that had rented it and their lease was October 1. So I'm not sure if they're not in a hurry or he has a lot of people that are interested. He at first said he was going to do it just by word of mouth. Hey, if you knew I was renting, so not really advertise it anywhere. And then I forgot to put this on the agenda. That I just wanted to let you know that if you didn't, that the text amendment for 41 North Market Street to allow townhomes in the core commercial district to met certain standards was approved by Borough Council, and that land development proposal is projected to come in sometime in September, is what they think.
But that was only for the text
The
amendment.
text amendment.
What the houses look like, which way they're positioned, all that is
It's up in the air.
up in the air.
Yep.
Well, we'll see what they propose. They certainly have the feeling of the planning commission. They certainly have I'm sure Borough Council. I know there was residents here.
Yeah.
For and against it.
Correct.
May change how they submit the land development plans.
Correct, yes. It was only for the text amendment. I will say I'm going to assume they're going to come back with the same plan that
Yeah,
they
I'm sure.
came for the text amendment, and they're probably going to want to hear official, even though I feel planning commission was very forward at the last meeting, we don't really like this amount of number. We really have to talk about parking. I think they'll probably come back with something very similar, and then planning commission and or council will have to work through the process. That's the feeling that I get from the applicant. That you'll probably see 15 townhomes on the paper, but then it goes from there.
No, I get it. I think it's less of the number, more of the parking. At least that's my issue,
Yeah,
because, you're not going to be able to have events at the firehouse if you have all the spots parked, and And I really don't think they're gonna have the parking police out there that's gonna start ticketing people. I find that hard to believe, but
Yeah,
that's just me.
he made a comment about making, one of the ways just one way, you know, how it was kind of like in and out on both. Would that help with the traffic flow? Would that help with something? You know, I said you just have to take into consideration, it's a firehouse, and when there's fire calls, all they care about is responding to the firehouse and getting out on the truck.
All bets are off.
Yes, that's the atmosphere you're dealing with, so I know you have to take that into consideration along with parking, and, you know, there are some couple questions that they asked that hopefully they take into consideration when they show their plan. But he said he's hoping to submit sometime in September, so I would think based on when he would submit in September would be if you would see it in October or maybe even November, depending on
Probably-
when he submitted.
I would think November, but until Chad gets a chance to issue a review letter, and until they get the Montgomery County Planning Commission letter, that's a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
always say
30 days.
I'm always like, the least amount of time is 30 days.
Yeah, so I would think that we would be here for November, so.
Yeah, so just expect that, you know, definitely before the end of the year.
All right. So yeah,
Good timing.
is there anything else other than our land development? Our next meeting is September. Obviously permitting if there's an agenda item.
Yeah, the only agenda item that could possibly be is the conversation we talked about, possibly looking at Brooks. We don't know if it will or will not qualify for land development. That's between the borough and the township, because a portion of their property in the back is actually in Hatfield Township, according to Montgomery County, like tax parcel, plans, and that's where they want to put the parking lot. So we've had offline conversations with Brooks and Hatfield Township about how do we work together to do what's best for both municipalities. Whether it's go for something in the township, go for something in the borough, do both. Is it permitting? Is it stormwater and grading permits? We've just kind of had those conversations, and nothing has been formally submitted. It's just, we kind of feel like we take two steps and then we think about
Yeah,
it.
but the bulk of it's in the borough.
Yeah, but their whole parking lot that they're proposing is in the township. Only the stormwater would be in the borough. On the map where they had drawn the parcel line that aligned with the tax county records and like Bing and whoever else you check it. The majority of the parking lot was in the township with the pipe underneath the ground connecting to the stormwater basin that's already out there. They did also talk about maybe expansion, so I think we're thinking about a couple different things and what that looks like.
Okay.
We've talked to Brian from Arrow for engineering for the township, Scott Hutt, Chad and myself have been on a bunch of calls with them in Brooks, just to try to work it out what's best for everybody, knowing it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood, even though it's an industrial district.
That noise from that clean room. I don't know how we don't have residents here complaining about it, because I hear it at my house.
Yeah,
And if I lived any closer, I would go out of my mind. That is ridiculous. That is crazy. Again, the people that live next door, I would be at a meeting monthly. And that needs to be addressed. If they do any kind of building improvements, that needs to be addressed.
yeah, they do ask us, like, hey, have you heard any comments, anything going on? Like, do you hear from residents? I was honest and said, a few people on Bentwood complained about it, exactly what you complained about, and we're in conversations with the police department and actually the township, how they addressed it in the industrial park off of Schwab Road. They had some issues over there, and Lieutenant Graham had pointed me in that direction to see how they handled it, you know, because there's no decibel real reader, kind of how you could enforce it. So we're just kind of having an off the line conversation about it. But people in Bentwood have made comments about that. So I think that's a great point that should somehow be addressed.
Somehow it should be
Yeah.
addressed, because again, I mean, and I'm quarter mile, half mile away, whatever it is.
Yeah. They're farther down than Bentwood.
So,
Midville.
all right, is there anything else other than our land development?
Nope.
All right. All right,
Talk about that they're going to LGD.
right. All right, at this time, we'll hear the land development presentation 200 North Main Street.
Good evening. Good evening. Julie Bernstein with Kathleen Stewart. We represent the applicant, Reliance Electric Campus Benefit LLC. And connection with their application seeking employment final and development approval from the board. Applicant is the owner of 2 adjacent parcels, one that's located in Hatfield Township and another 1.46 acre parcel that's within the book. This is the former location of the district called, logical area. This was located among the right there down through the outcast with the sensors and street at the township. The third parcel itself is has to be improved with a smaller kind of slip of the principal school building and then a secondary single-story building and 2 driveway accesses all on Main Street. The eastern driveway access is shared with neighboring residential properties. And next up, the larger impervious parking field that's kind of at the south corner of the parcel. Applicant is proposing to convert the existing school and redevelop the entire site for parcels for age restricted apartments. The secondary building is located in the below parcel. The dual use and the parking fields that were there being somewhat redesigned. Noted the community with some parking that's located in that kind of southern corner. Well, when you have no associated utilities, somewhat management, and also with Borough. Although there is some additional development proposed in connection with this project in Hatfield Township, no other additional development is being proposed in the borough itself. As you may recall, and was just referred to, running these is granted the project to allow for special acceptance. We currently have an application in to reinstate this relief. And we have a hearing scheduled for September 24th. Here tonight with Jacob Tackett, he's the engineer that's been on the project, to help further walk through the plans. Before fully turning it over to him, I just wanted to note again that what my understanding is that we have no issues with complying with the engineer's review letter. It's largely a will comply going through. There were some comments that were made regarding development of located in the township. Again, while we're here, we're just here for the approvals in the borough. We have to go through kind of a very similar process in the township for the parcel that's located over there. And we are kind of obligated to show that other people in addition to with that, I am going to turn it over to Kate. The walk through we're happy to kind of address some of the specifics that were in the letters, but again, historically, there were a few comments. Already got what we did to things like providing proposals that you're around the property, we will provide that, but we also updated to create a waiver request. They sent that one out precisely. There are a few other waivers that we're using homes. Those may not be near that and hopefully going into requests, having options, for example, the landscaping and southeast corner, again, keeping and implementation condition up there. Also, the whole situation historically, and we are putting up kind of a whole fencing for the offering for that area. So that's terrible. But other people I would take over.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jake Tackett. I'm with TNM Associates. I represent the project as a solution consultant. Julie kind of hit me on the head over here for tonight. And this is a 3-phase or multi-phase redevelopment project for age restricted, unassisted multi-family living. Which will be income based and seeking PHFA credit for Presently, the first phase of this project has been funded. The first phase consists of the parallel building to Fairgrounds Road north of the existing cemetery. Along with that improvement, we are looking at installing the necessary parking, site circulation for driveway access, landscaping, lighting, stormwater management, and utility improvements associated with that structure and the improvements included in that. Comprehensively, the site is 3 separate multifamily living facilities, all of which are age restricted, all of which are income based. They're just at different stages of funding with the HFA at this time. We are before you to submit a singular application for the comprehensive build out of the site. From an entitlements perspective, it makes no sense to follow with that thing. We certainly understand the need to demarcate each different phase through phasing lines and exhibits that will be recorded alongside the development agreements. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, we're here just tonight to seek recommendation for approval for the overall project, and we'll navigate the detail through which we demarcate those phases of the future, certainly before time recording. As was stated, we have an engineering letter in hand from Bank Leaf dated August 11th. I'm happy to go through each and every one of those comments if you'd like this to, but I get the infection part time residing over here, so I'll touch on whatever you guys want to discuss in greater detail. But just wanted to acknowledge that we are up for reinstatement renewal of the previously approved zoning variances. On that out later in September, but for the presentation tonight, as we hear before, it's the assumption that that would be reinstated. It would be good if you could go back to the site plan, January, for example. Thank you. Maybe if it's, you have the land on plans themselves. Yeah. If you look at the drainage plan, it would be 9, I think. As a landscape, we said, I'll do my best. Move numbers in my head. You would be hopefully happy to hear that all of our stormwater management facilities are proposed to be within the Hatfield Township municipality. We are proposing to collect runoff in the impervious areas on the site that can drain into those facilities themselves. The lawn space that is south or separates the proposed development and the residential development on Main Street will continue to travel via overland flow. There's no change in the drainage pattern. There's no change in drainage or runoff condition that we anticipate. It's lawn today. It'll be lawn tomorrow. The only improvement really within that lawn space between the residential properties and our redevelopment is that we will landscape that grass space a little bit more intensely, which is actually, and I'll get into this, one of the reasons that we're seeking precautionary waiver before the site triangle. As it relates to utility improvements, each of the new buildings and the existing building will be serviced on their own water and sanitary lines. Similarly, electrical and gas will be serviced individually to each of the structures given the timing or anticipated timing of construction. We understand that the borough requests or anticipates that they maintain providing electricity to each of the buildings. Jamie may have mentioned this previously, that technically structures within the township municipalities are under PPL's jurisdiction. We do need to seek an approval from them to relinquish their right to service the 2 new buildings. But we are working through that process and will provide documentation upon receipt, one way or the other. There are no structural improvements within the borough's municipal boundary. The site comprehensively within the area that you're interested in comprises of parking, utility improvements, subsurface, and landscaping. I had in my hand a couple of waivers that I'd like to distribute to you guys to follow along with. Let's see. No, let's see if you could pass it on the line. Thank you. This is not off the press, so I'll give you a minute to look at it for a moment. We are before you this evening to request approval of recommendation for approval of 5 waivers, which include the combination of the preliminary final land development application, which is consistent with projects of this magnitude in scope. We are requesting a precautionary waiver from section 22-302.d, which is essentially plan content, and as Julie mentioned, to omit irrelevant existing features within 200 feet of the property boundary. An example of this would be storm conveyance infrastructure within a conveyance line that is unaffected by our development. We are not looking to omit information that is directly relevant to our application. So that's why we're requesting a precautionary partial waiver for that. On page 2, waiver 3 requests a waiver for, page 1, but then in page 2, requests a precautionary waiver for the allowance of certain vegetative species within the clear site triangle if warranted or required by other sections of the ordinance. We would verify that no vegetation would be installed within the clear site triangle, which would limit our site design distance. And as a precautionary waiver in case we need it, we are presently proposing any vegetation in excess of 2.5 feet within the clear site triangle, but would be safe. We'd rather be safe than sorry in the event that we do need to come back before we get that discussed this evening. Waiver 4 requests the waiver 4 relates to the existing parking and now proposed parking along the southern property boundary where we abut the residential structures. It's the 20 parking spaces that run sort of parallel to the property line, which you can't see here, but is right up against the property line within about 8 feet. The reason for this waiver request is because it's an existing condition where there's paving pretty much up to the fence line today that abuts the residential properties to the south of us. We're just proposing to improve that and be more consistent with modern engineering standards. Waiver 5, similarly, we are requesting to continue with an existing nonconformity where there's ample space today to park more than 18 vehicles consecutively without a breakup of landscaping islands. Consistent with the previously proposed zoning exhibit, we are proposing to follow the same existing nonconformity where we are proposing 20 spaces without a break of landscaping islands. Those are the waivers before you here this evening as part of this application for discussion. I'm happy to answer any questions you have as it relates to the engineering design, the site layout itself, or waivers or comments that were issued as part of this review.
All right, I guess I'll go first. So I guess my first issue is, yes, I agree that there's a township in the borough, but obviously this development affects the whole parcel. So, I mean, although there is the township in the borough, I think we view it as one development. And, you know, we are as part of this one development. So, the stormwater basins you have in the front yard, what are they constructed or what are they made out of? And a prime example is there's the basins down at Penfield that, I mean, just look like hell. We got kind of burnt a little bit with another basin on a residential property down Vine in Coffle, that again, the basin's in the backyard. It looks like hell. And are these vegetated? Are these rain gardens? Are they going to be mowed? What are the expectations? Because again, it's in the front yard. It's a very visual part as people are driving up and down the road.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about stormwater. Nobody ever wants to, so I try to keep the details to a minimum less asked. So this is my bread and butter. I love this stuff. Both stormwater basins, SEMs, as they're called now, state level, stormwater control measures, as you may know, are both non-infiltrating surface rain gardens, essentially. They're called MRC basins. MRC is an acronym for Managed Release Concept, and essentially what that design considers is it takes an infiltration component through a surface media, which is just a seed mix essentially, and replicates an infiltration rate, which funnels through an orifice, a low flow orifice below the soil media, and discharges it out to, in this case, Fairgrounds Road storm conveyance infrastructure. It is a vegetative basin. It will be visible as you drive by. It is several feet above grade at the intersection. So the berm would be what you would see sort of like down slope side of this basin as you drive by. But it is seeded, it is vegetated. It will be maintained. It's actually part of our state reporting requirements that in perpetuity, these basins are maintained in good operating function, forever. So the owner understands that they have an obligation to maintain these structures and basins and control structures and under drains and all the components that comprise of the stormwater system in perpetuity.
What's your definition of maintain? Is the vegetation going to be cut? Are the sides going to be mowed? What can we expect that it's going to look like in 5 years after you're gone and the construction's done and we're left with a mess?
Lawn cover should be mowed, in regular intervals so that it mimics.
All the way down to the bottom, or?
The basin footprint itself will be comprised of a different seed mix. It's more of like a wild meadow.
Right.
Growth pattern, so it will still be maintained. It will not be mowed at regular intervals like a lawn would be.
This is the bottom you're talking about?
It is, yeah.
Okay. What about the sides?
The sides would be lined with sort of a quasi lawn, quasi meadow mix, but will still be required to be maintained and mowed somewhat frequently.
So we can expect that the bottom will be vegetated and for absorption and all that, but the sides itself will be mowed.
That is correct.
All right. Can we get that on a note on the plan? So-
Actually, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but
No,
we are obligated, and I'm not sure about some of the other basins, but some of the ones that aren't maintained quite as well, they tend to be older and.
no, these are newer.
They have caught up and created and obligated us to enter into operation easement agreements. So there are maintenance agreements that go for operation maintenance, sorry, not easement, going forward, that not only dictate or when your solicitor, this out of what's required here, it's gonna also have to happen with the township. We'll have a similar, maybe slightly different one, but it provides basically a contract, and that contract.
No, I know what an O&M agreement is. So you're not going to put a note on the plan for us? Why wouldn't you?
I was just saying, in addition.
Okay.
Would have this as some of the older basins don't have that kind of.
No. I understand that, but what ends up happening is in 5 years, they decide, well, why am I mowing that basin? I can save $100 a mow from my landscape guy, and then it just goes wild and goes crazy and it starts growing and it looks like hell. And that's
Gotta get
what,
somebody else.
and that's what we're trying to avoid. That's all.
Look nice.
All right, well,
All the time.
that's perfect, but then you sell it to somebody else who's not going to maintain it. That's what we're trying to avoid. You're gonna have the best product in the world, and I mean that. But then if you decide that you're gonna sell it and somebody else is gonna buy it, and then it's gonna go to hell, and that's what we don't want. That's why belt and suspenders. We have a note on the plan. We have an O&M agreement. That way, if something happens in the future, we have it covered. That's all.
Would it be satisfactory to reference the O&M agreement? And
However, I just want to be able to say we have a recorded document in the plan. We have a note that the basin will be maintained and mown as, whatever. We have the O&M agreement. It gives us an extra pair of teeth that we can make sure, because again, this is in front. I understand it's high, but it's not that high. It's in the very front of the building. It's at a focal point, and we're a little town. but we've gotten burned a few times with what basins look like and not being maintained. And, you know, the developer is long gone and it's very frustrating. So again, and I understand it's on the township property. I get that. But again, this school was for the Hatfield community. And I understand probably that the township has the lion's share of the lift here with plans and reviews and stuff like that. But nonetheless, we still view this as a single property. The Hatfield community is still a zoning line, and it's something that we would like.
I think that the applicant.
And I don't
can
think-
easily comply with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch.
One of the standard requirements for maintaining the MRC basin as a outline. Monitoring.
Right. The waiver list, you didn't discuss these with Chad, I assume, because in his letter, he said there was no waivers. Waiver requested, no waivers have been requested, and then you have the 5 comment letter. So I assume you haven't discussed these with Chad, or have you?
We have not had the opportunity to discuss chat that now.
All right, my only concern is you're asking for the waiver. Well, two things. You're asking for the, I'm sorry, bear with me a second. I'm just seeing this. Oh, the clear sight triangle. You're asking for a waiver of the clear sight triangle, but then you say you'll keep it clear of vegetation. Then why even ask for the waiver? Why not?
Precautionary waiver in the event that we are unable to comply with other landscaping ordinance requirements, we would then request to use the space within the clear sight triangle that would otherwise be reserved. Chad did note in his review letter that they would support this waiver should it be requested, provided it did not impact the stop or safe stopping distance, the site distance that's required by the township. We don't presently propose any landscaping within the clear sight triangle. We're just asking, in the event that something becomes necessary, would we be able to get support for that now instead of having to come back before the planning commission for script time?
I guess I understand what you're saying, but again, my concern is you're asking for a waiver, but you're going to comply. Why do you even need the waiver if you're going to comply?
I don't know what the plan will look
Because,
like
I mean,
after we discuss comments.
you wouldn't put landscaping in the clear sight triangle anyway, so you couldn't do it because it would be flagged as an obstruction. So again, why even ask for the waiver? I guess I guess I don't think I would support the waiver because we want to make sure that there isn't, you know, and you're gonna have, you know, people moving in and out that, you know, I'm trying to say it a tactful way that might not be as
There's limited visibility site.
with limited disability with the site that you would want to make sure that this clear sight triangle is free and clear. And if you can comply now, and obviously you design the plan that the landscaping meets it, I don't even think you even need it. Thank you. I was trying to be
No,
nice.
I agree with you. That was a five too.
Really, we should sharpen that is close.
I mean, if they could,
Yeah.
So I think
if they take care of it now, it's not a problem.
Exactly.
Because now you're designing.
Yep.
Design it out of it, yeah.
I think that we can request to remove that from the waiver letter.
Thank
To
you.
comply with your state tackle requirements.
Then can you explain, and I, again, this was my fault. I was looking at papers when you were explaining it last time. The last waiver, you said it was the 18 spaces, but they're existing or something. And again, I was looking at the papers and and I apologize, I wasn't focusing on what you were saying. Can you show me again or explain that again?
Would you mind going to the existing conditions plan, would be number 3, I think on set? So, I'm gonna point.
Yes, please.
Your ordinance requires that there are no more than 18 spaces consecutively without a breakup of landscaping line. What we are saying is that there is existing patchwork along the parking field in the rear of the property off of Main Street today that would permit from greater than 18 spaces without a landscaping. And that's basically along up there
Okay,
down to here, where there's faded striping, but striping nonetheless indicates the park at one time was approved in this backyard area. We're simply asking, to maintain that existing non-compliance, if you will, and allow for, if you go to the site,
for the new parking.
for the new parking.
Okay,
To give us 20 spaces here and 20 spaces here, which is largely consistent with the plan that was discussed and conceptually approved as part of the zoning order. But also again maintains the existing nonconformity. It actually reduces the intensity of that existing nonconformity. The reason we're asking for it is because we're kind of blocked with the rest of the site and finding additional parking spaces, and are required to provide this exact number of parking spaces per the township's zoning board.
So if this board would, and again, I understand we're a recommending body, but if this board would grant approval to do that, and let's say that those islands would have netted 5 trees, 10 trees, 8 trees, whatever the number is, would you be willing to plant those trees elsewhere on the site? Or the landscaping or something to make up for it because you're not using the islands because we're granting the waiver of not having the islands? Could we put the landscaping elsewhere, whether it's on the township side or our side? I mean, preferably our side, but
Would you mind going through this? I'm sorry to have you jump back and forth. I think that's number 9.
That one.
Yes. So you'll see on our plan here, we're very densely vegetated in the post-development condition. If there is a requirement to provide additional trees via those landscaping islands that may be waived, I think we'll do the best we can to find a spot for them, but we're planting darn near every square inches, lawn space for the township and borough.
Is this the ball field back here?
The
Yeah.
ball field would be to the left of us.
Yeah, so the trees would be like the boundary between the ball field and that.
There is a considerable field distance between
Yes.
this boundary line and the ball field, but essentially, yeah, we would be looking at that line of trees on the left side of the plan as the visual buffer.
Really what I'm looking for, so is West School Street down at the bottom?
yes,
Okay, so the houses on West School Street. What's the different distance between the parking lot and those houses?
It maintains the existing distance. I think it's about 8 feet from our property line to where our parking is proposed.
Okay,
yeah, I think almost the parking is the rear line of the properties.
It is.
because what I was looking at is if we had those islands in there and you had trees in there, it might be a better view, if you will, for the residents that live on West School Street, those houses. I mean, some of those people were at the meeting the last time.
Yeah.
They were concerned about this.
The only thing is you're only gonna, if they were to, they would only need to put one island in there along School Street and one island, I'm just saying.
A
is-
couple of trees,
I mean, it would be a couple trees, but
Yeah.
if we could strategically plant those couple trees somewhere where it made a lot of sense. I mean, looks like they are buffering. Or could we plant those trees on the neighbor's property?
That's.
I mean, because
If we
again,
talk
you
to the
don't have the
neighbors.
room, but if the neighbors would have the room, they'd be willing to put a tree in their backyard or something. I mean, can we make an effort to try to do something like that or donate the tree to them or something?
While we don't have permission from the neighbors today,
I understand
I
that.
think that if they're open to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's premature to have it be a condition because obviously if they don't want to provide permission, that's gonna hold up the project. I understand what you're saying about that there is the whole fence, the buffering fence, and then everything is really kind of planted out to provide that buffer. I think what you're talking about kind of protects them.
Well, I think we could,
I don't want to have a condition that's, it's not our property, we don't
Well,
control
yeah.
it.
okay, well, that's fair, but I think the condition could be is that you could work with the township engineer to possibly plant those trees that would be in lieu of the islands. And again, Jamie's here, Katie's here, if that is an option that the residents would be willing to, then that would meet the spirit and intent that you're working with the township engineer to probably place that. If you need 10 trees and we can get 8 somewhere else, hey, that's still a win for us. If you can get 5 somewhere, that's still a win for us. It's not like we're getting 0.
Yeah. So I think we can evaluate what that tree count would need to be.
Right.
If we could work with the township
I-
or with the borough.
I think
and
that's
their
fair.
engineer To address the comment to their satisfaction.
I think that's all we're asking for, and
To keep it open, to keep it open.
keep it open, work with the township engineer on it. If again, if we can get 5 of the trees, 8 of the trees, whatever the number is, if we can get something is better than nothing. And you get the extra parking spaces, and it's a lot easier to plow without an island there. I mean, it's reality.
Snows once in a while, still here. But we do appreciate it.
Don't say that. You just-
I know, right?
You
It
just
just ruins the next winter. Bill, I don't want to speak for the ownership team. Is that something that we're open to?
Absolutely.
That's all the comments I have.
You addressed the 2 I had.
Detention basin appearance.
All right,
Okay.
John, no?
I think that needs to get through Chad though first. Before,
Well, we have Chad's review.
No, I mean, for the new ones tonight,
Oh,
before.
yeah, obviously Chad has to review it. And you said that in Chad's review letter, the comments were all will comply?
Generally, yes, with the exception of the waivers we just discussed and the acknowledgement that the zoning order, which is now expired, must be reinstated. We
Right,
don't have any questions or confusion on any of the comments that he had from an engineering design perspective or plan mutation perspective.
all right, so except for the waivers and the zoning, everything else is a will comply.
That is correct.
Does that include the Montgomery County Planning Commission's letter too? 'Cause
We-
they had noted some things in there that I thought were pretty interesting.
We address those comments as we're able to. I actually don't have that letter in front of me. I apologize. It's the one thing I don't have with me today. But we work to address as many of those comments as we're able to, as long as it doesn't conflict with your engineering letter or the township's engineering letter.
How about with an understanding of the township, but the township review letter, is there any, oh my gods, or is that pretty much a will comply as well?
We did get the township review letter this afternoon. I haven't done a deep dive. I did do a cursory review. Nothing stood out to me as concerning from an engineering design, especially as it relates to erosion and sediment control or stormwater. Sort of the same boat that we're in right now, that there's just a lot of plan notation, detail, preference,
Right.
clarification items.
Right, and you'll need planning module approval and NPDS for this, I assume?
That is correct. You do have an active application with Montgomery County Conservation District right now. We're in the process of returning that administrative review to them.
Okay.
We don't foresee any kind of difficulty obtaining that approval. And yes, I acknowledge we do need our sewer planning exemption from module amended if necessary.
And the only driveway is, and that's our road, so you do not need PennDOT.
That is correct. There is no PennDOT HOP required.
Any other members have any?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, well, please, yes.
2 questions. One, well, I just want to talk about in Chad's letter, it talks about like phasing and you'll come up with a phasing plan. And like my understanding, when we're talking about tax credits and getting money, like this first phase would have to be built, constructed, occupied. Then you go for your second phase of funding, Same thing, then you go for your third phase of funding. So essentially, maybe this project takes 10 years to complete all three phases. In your phasing plan, that's maybe more of a comment than a question. Could you just make it extremely detailed of what that site is going to look like from now until 2035? Because I think it's a concern of residents. That's the concern that I've had from residents that have voiced opinions like, hey, this could be a construction site for 10 years. And I don't think that that's something like with construction fences and things out that, the community wants to see happen for 10 years. And I know your phasing plan isn't specific right now. So if it could be detailed and specific, I think it would give the residents that have called and asked, because they understand that this could be a 10-year project. Essentially, it might not be. Bill would probably know the better time frames. But I think that's just a concern of, is it going to be under construction? Is it going to just be dirt for 10 years? And are you going to plant seed and grass every time and then you're going to rip it back up? Like, kind of what does that look like? Do you know, or could you
Sure,
address
yeah.
that in your plan?
We can address it. We will certainly put together the demarcation phasing plan that's requested. It will be helpful and relevant for our financial security agreements. What I can say is that in order to keep our site in good standing from the county conservation district's perspective, when operations cease for more than a certain period of time, we're talking like days to
It has to be
weeks, months,
stabilized.
years, you are required to stabilize the property, which would mean you're leaving dirt. You're not leaving dirt, you're seeding that dirt. You are providing a temporary or quasi-permanent solution whereby it doesn't look like a construction site. This is just a total hypothetical, but say we start construction in early 2027, finish the first phase in early 2028, but don't start phase 2 until 2035, like you said. For that period of time, the site will need to look like a final condition to be passed around. You don't have construction equipment on site. You don't have a rock construction entrance that just sits in perpetuity. You don't have exposed grass or exposed dirt. You would have to seed that lawn and maintain it as though it's the final condition, because until such time phase 2 comes to fruition, that's what the site exists as. So I can pretty comfortably say that as part of the permit requirements that you maintain the property in good, clean, working order when it's not actively under construction.
I think the residents will appreciate that answer, and I'm going to refer them to the planning commission meeting on August 17th to hear that in a couple of years. But that was really most of the questions that I've been asked is like, hey, it's already taken a while and it's been like that. I live on West School Street, I'm a resident of West School. How do I know that my backyard's not going to be torn up for 10 years? Or how do I know? And I think if you don't work in government, you probably just don't understand how the permit process works. So I think that's reassuring to them that, you will stabilize and it'll look like a really nice development. And then a little bit more will be added on and a little bit more, but it will certainly look like a great residential area at every phase. So I think
It will. Yeah, the only time it'll look like a construction site is on that.
And Adam, do you have any questions?
I have a couple of questions. I mean, you addressed most of my questions. I understand about the parking lot screening, that you're constricted or constrained by Hatfield Township's requirements. It's not ideally what we like to see, but I think you've kind of negotiated something in good faith, which makes sense. But I was curious about like an outdoor amenity area. I mean, this is going to have however many residents, and where are they going to go to kind of like convene and gather?
Sure. Yeah. So while not specifically dedicated as an open space or amenity space, there is a courtyard between proposed building 1 and the existing seminary building. You can kind of see by that like quasi network of sidewalking walkway there.
Yeah.
Is intended to sort of act as that low slope, gentle, vegetative cover.
Will there be any seating there or outdoor seating?
We're working through the site furnishings with the applicant and owner, but I think that whatever is necessary to comply with requirements or stipulations of approval, we'll work with. Presently, I don't think we show any seating areas right now. So if we need to add a couple of benches, I think that we can discuss that.
Okay, great. Then I was curious just about the access drive, the current drive. I think it looks like it's closed off just for emergency access. You have like easements in place to make that happen.
Sure, and I'm smacking my forehead here. I didn't discuss the site circulation from a driveway connection perspective. But to your point, there is an existing semicircle driveway that services the vacant seminary building. We are closing the driveway at the intersection of Fairgrounds Road and Cowpath Road, in the township's municipal boundary. The driveway you were specifically referring to is the residential drive, correct?
Yeah.
So, we discussed this with the township at their planning commission meeting. We're open to installing some sort of chain security gate that is only open during emergencies, but would exist only for the benefit of the residential properties that don't have frontage.
Sure. And so the circulation for the rest of the site, it's two-way on the plans, right?
Yes,
I think originally the borough, and this is beyond me, but I just noticed in the kind of like borough council's letter of approval, one of the conditions was that it be one way. So that's going to be something that probably want to address. Yeah.
that is correct. And so to clarify, the site circulation does allow for two-way traffic or circulation throughout the entire property. The driveway connection for the multifamily residential piece, fronting on New Main Street is restricted to ingress only.
Ingress only.
So in this corner here, we have two striped turnaround spaces that will have to dimension and clearly demonstrate that if the vehicle can move and do sort of like a reverse K turn and get back out to our only egress point, which is on Fairgrounds Road.
That wasn't necessarily clear on the plan.
And we got a comment from the township engineer as well.
Okay. That's all I have.
So to clarify, we're restricted access on the Main Street driveway connection to ingress only. The driveway access that we sort of split on our property line to the very south that services the residential property will be untouched as much as we can control it. We don't want to interrupt their day-to-day life. We'll be repave as necessary. Continue to exist for the sole benefit of the residents that utilize it, as well as emergency access if required.
I just want to say that this place will look beautiful all the time. I live on the street, it has to look beautiful. And it will, just because that's the way it's gonna work. For 12 months, 13 months at the most, it's gonna be under construction. When it's done, all that stuff is going. Yes, will be stuff coming back to maybe do some repair somewhere or something. Yeah, but it's like it is anywhere else, but it's gonna be beautiful, or I'm cutting the grass, run my tractor down and cut dark grass.
We'll add that.
All right, are there any other comments? Are you good,
That's all I have.
Jamie?
No, I think it's great.
All right, so what is the schedule? What is the schedule for this?
So I know they're going to Borough Council on Wednesday, and they're gonna give the same presentation on Wednesday at Borough Council. And then depending on how the conversation went tonight and how the conversation goes on Wednesday, they will either be looking to come back to Borough Council in September for preliminary final approval, and we'll work on a resolution from there, or they'll come back in September and give another updated plan, whatever, how the conversation goes. And then they'll be looking for final approval like the first week in October. So it really just depends how this conversation goes and planning commission goes, whether they'll get to approval in September, which is the 16th, I think, or they'll wait till October. Jacob and I kind of
All right.
talked about it. They want a groundbreaking in October, I think, right?
That's what we're looking to do.
Yes,
So Chad would have a chance to review the waivers prior to approval from council.
correct. Council will not approve anything on Wednesday. The earliest they will approve is September. And that's always just how we work out the agreements and the resolution and kind of
Sure,
how that.
no,
all
no,
goes.
I
Yeah, so we kind of left both options
I-
up to.
I think that satisfies your comment with the waivers. Because that way Chad, because obviously Chad's not here and obviously
He will be at the meeting on Wednesday.
he'll be at the meeting on Wednesday. All
And we
right,
haven't granted funding for the project.
Correct, yeah.
good.
Did they go to the zoning hearing?
They will go on the 24th.
Okay.
So I would assume your approval would be
Before-
contingent.
Yeah.
Yeah, be contingent upon
That approval.
the approval, yeah. I think council probably won't approve till October.
Right,
just based on the dates.
are we okay approving this?
Yeah.
You guys okay approving this with conditions?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I,
Striking out,
yeah,
striking,
yeah, so I would think that the planning commission would make a recommendation for approval with the conditions of the Van Cleef letter dated August 11th, 2026, with the memo from T&M August 17th, 2026, outlining 5 waivers. However, waiver number 3 for the clear sight triangle is not being requested,
That is correct.
and that the developer would work with the township engineer on trying to place the additional landscaping that from the waiver from the islands, if that additional landscaping can be placed somewhere else on the site, or if the adjacent property owners along West School Street would be willing to have a tree as a buffer on their yard, you would be amenable to that if they were amenable to it. And again, that would be something that we'd work out with the township engineer. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If we can get 5 trees instead of, 10 trees, or we can get 8 trees, whatever the number is, Chad can work with you to, see what we can do with that. Did I hit all the items?
Do you have to say contingent upon them getting zoning for that?
And contingent upon approval from the zoning hearing board. Did I get them all? All right, so I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
We have a motion from John. Do I have a second? I have a second from Larry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Do you want,
Should we act like a tree and leave?
well, we did the whole meeting first, so.
Only if you're gonna leave the trees.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, is there any other business for the planning commission that we didn't already go over?
No.
All right, so our next meeting is September 28th, if we have any business, but realistically, we were thinking that probably isn't going to be anything that we would most likely have an October meeting for.
Unless something comes in, because we haven't had anything yet, you need 30 days to review, so you probably will not have September.
Right,
I don't know about October if something comes in. Depends when the 41 submits theirs. They
right,
don't have a name for it, so I just keep referring it to 41
41.
North Market.
So could be November.
Yeah. could be.
Realistically, it could
Yeah.
be November if the 41 North Market does come in, so. All right, anything else for the good of the cause? All right, motion to adjourn, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. But boom.